So, guys, it officially happened. Jon Jones has officially retired. I said officially twice. He is retired from the UFC. He is retired from MMA. He is retired officially. After the Azerbaijan card in Baku, Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree post-fight press conference, Dana White comes out. He says Jon Jones gave him a call last night, and he's retired. He's retired from the sport. He's not going to be fighting anymore. You guys know what retired means. Look at this guy, Dana White, on my right. He's mad. He's pissed off. Clearly, he does not like this. Jon Jones wasted their time for a while. But, I'm not going to make this video, trash talking Jon Jones a lot, Because, in a sense, I don't blame Jon Jones necessarily for everything that happened in the recent controversies of him not fighting Aspinall. A lot of it was the UFC's fault. And let's talk about Aspinall. Dana White officially announced Tom Aspinall, is the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. That's crazy. Look at him, man. He's undisputed now. I thought he was undisputed before, because simply no one in the heavyweight division can mess with him. We haven't seen anyone who could. What's gonna happen with Aspinall now? We'll talk about that in a bit. But let's just talk about this Jon Jones, guys. Dana White, about a week ago, he said we'll give it a couple weeks until International Fight Week, UFC 317. We'll give Jon Jones a deadline on what he wants to do with his title, what he wants to do about fighting. But Jon Jones cut it off early, and said he wants to retire right now. He gave out a statement. No one cares about that statement. He probably had whatever to say. Whoever retires, always have the same thing to say. Whatever, thanking everyone. This comes right after. I think it was kind of expected too. I think Jon Jones was done. I think he, not necessarily. In a way, I heard DC say this. Jon Jones quit. I don't know if he really retired, but he quit. He was getting so much hate. He was clearly tired of it. I mean, why are you tired of it when you brought it upon yourself? But sure, he walked off the Nelk Boys podcast. They asked him, what can the UFC do to make the Aspinall fight happen? And he walked off their podcast after 10 minutes of talking. If that wasn't a sign, it was a pretty clear sign. I didn't think he would just straight up retire like this, though. I thought we were going to go to the deadline, and there was going to be a thing where the UFC booked Aspinall versus Gane. Let's talk about Aspinall now. He's undisputed now. Who's he going to fight next? It's hard to say. I think the only fight really the UFC wants to make is, unfortunately, Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane really isn't even that good. I thought he clearly lost to Alexander Volkov, but we all know they robbed him. They robbed Volkov in that, and now Gane is coming off of a win. I guess he's the only other number one contender. So I guess they're going to do Aspinall versus Gane. They're probably going to announce it a week, or like maybe at UFC 317 they're going to announce an Aspinall fight. UFC 320, 321, 322, some shit. Something like that. I'm sure Aspinall is happy now. I think he's hopped into training camp. He knew he was going to be fighting someone. I'm not sure exactly who he knew he was going to be fighting, but now he knows it's probably going to be Ciryl Gane. Now the heavyweight division is going to be moving. Now, it could have been moving a little bit more. Earlier today at the Azerbaijan card, Rizvan Kuniev versus Curtis Blades happened. And in my opinion, I thought Rizvan Kuniev, he won. I really did think he won. And I wouldn't necessarily call it a robbery, but they gave the fight to Curtis Blades, which I don't understand. I think it's maybe because, they're trying to make Francis Ngannou look bad by showing that Curtis Blades, the number 5 rank, can beat a guy that beat a guy that lost to Francis Ngannou. I know that all didn't make sense. If you know about the lore, you know. But you guys could have had Rizvan Kuniev come in, beat Curtis Blades, give him one more fight, maybe against Sergey Pavlovich, and then fight for a title. But no, of course, they rob him. I'm going to say it was a robbery. I thought Rizvan clearly won round 2 and 3. But they gave it to Blades. It was close though, but I thought Rizvan won. But now the heavyweight division is moving. It's still gonna be stale for a bit. They're gonna do Aspinall versus Gon. That tells me they're probably gonna do Almeida versus Volkov, and then Sergey versus maybe the winner of like Derek Lewis versus Taliesin to share. I don't know who Sergey's going to fight. Does he have a fight booked? I don't know. But it's moving now. Now let's talk about Francis Ngannou. Dana White has said Francis Ngannou is not coming back to the UFC, but I wouldn't completely count that out. What if the UFC pulls off getting Francis Ngannou back in the UFC and fighting Aspinall for the undisputed title? Challenging Aspinall for the undisputed title. I think the UFC should really try to do that. Now, I think Francis Ngannou, I don't think is as competitive as it would have been 2 years ago. I think Francis Ngannou, he's kind of got a little chubby now, you know. Could that guy even make the cut to 265? I don't know. But I would say try to get Francis Ngannou back and try to make that Francis Ngannou versus Tom Aspinall fight. That would be sick. That would sell a lot of pay-per-views. That would just be really cool. But yeah, the heavyweight division's moving. Jon Jones is retired, man. Like, I really don't understand what he was trying to do. I know he was waiting for the Pereira fight. If Alex Pereira beat Magomed Ankalaev, they probably would have made the Pereira and Jon Jones fight. I think that's what they're looking for. That's what they're waiting for. Pereira lost, so they're going to do the rematch of Pereira and Ankalaev, but that's going to be not for a while. Now, I was thinking of something. What if, since the heavyweight division is so stale, and there's going to be people rematching each other and stuff, what if you do just give Alex Pereira a title shot against Tom Aspinall? I would like to see it, honestly, even though I don't think Pereira necessarily deserves a title shot. As far as, like, bringing back hype and making a huge fight, I would much rather see Pereira versus Aspinall. I think you should make that fight. I think Aspinall wins, but we're not talking about who wins. We're talking about what fight is big. Aspinall versus Pereira. Try to make it. Pereira even just hinted that he's going up to heavyweight. This was after like something was said, and Pereira posted a video that he was 248 pounds, and like had like a caption of him being a heavyweight. I say do that Pereira fight. Just give Pereira a title shot against Aspinall. That is still a huge fight, even if Pereira lost. Now Pereira has lost a little bit of stock because of that loss to Magomed Ankalaev, but he will gain that stock back by simply just fighting Tom Aspinall, no matter if he wins or loses. But that lead up to the fight, booking that fight and making that fight happen, that would be amazing. I say do Aspinall versus Pereira, but unfortunately, what's most likely, they're probably going to do Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane. And then maybe the division could get moving, but the heavyweight division now is not really moving that much. Now, especially since they robbed Rizvan Kuniev. There's going to be some guys coming up, though. Taliesin Teixeira, you know, if he beats Derek Lewis, they might toss him over with a, you know, top 6, 7 guy. I don't know. This is crazy, though. Johnny Boy's retired. I just feel like he ruined his career. I really do. He ruined his legacy. Jon Jones no longer has the stock he did 2 years ago. 2 years ago, Jon Jones was an undisputed GOAT. 2 years has passed. Jon Jones is a duck. He's forever going to go down as a guy who ducked Tom Aspinall. He's forever going to go down as a guy who quit. He's forever going to go down as a guy who ran away. Doing all this, he honestly, it would have been better if after the Stipe fight, he just retired. He would have still got a bunch of flack. People still would have been calling him a duck, but it wouldn't have been as bad as waiting even longer now and now just retiring. right when Dana White said he's giving you a deadline. Uh, John Jones asked for $30 million. The UFC gave it to him, and he still said no. He ducked. He ruined his career in a way. He ruined his stock. He should have even retired after the Ciryl Gane fight. Do you guys remember when John Jones came back to the UFC, to the heavyweight division? He was supposed to be signed to like a 4 to 8 fight contract, and then all of a sudden it turned into, oh, he has like 1 or 2 more fights left after the Ciryl Gane fight. What happened, man? Now, is this John Jones versus Aspinall fight still a future possibility? Maybe, maybe after Aspinall defends against Gane, probably does it in a better way. Maybe knocks out Gane in a better way than John. And maybe, I don't know, John just gets a boost. He's like, I can beat this guy Aspinall. Maybe he comes back. But honestly, I don't even think the UFC, I don't think Dana White is clearly fed up with John. He clearly has been, and he almost broke, man. Dana White almost went off on John Jones, I feel like, but he stopped himself since John retired. I don't even think the UFC, if John Jones wanted to come back now, I don't even know if they would entertain him now. The sport is always good with John Jones fighting. Whenever he fights, and when he's not fighting, it's not good. He creates problems. He's a terrible guy out of the cage. I'm sure John Jones is gonna get another criminal type situation. I'm sure he's gonna break the law somehow. I'm sure he's gonna mess up somehow again, get arrested. Very likely to happen. 95% chance of happening. So John Jones is retired. Tom Aspinall is now the undisputed champ. I just yapped for I don't know how long. If you're still watching, that's crazy. Thank you. Tom Aspinall is undisputed. Book him versus Pereira. Book him versus Francis Ngannou. Book him versus both of them in the same night. Guys, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment whatever you want. And peace out.